Hi everyone, welcome to your Restorative Yoga with meditation. Nice little way to get yourself relaxed and ready for a really nice sleep tonight. So I hope that you're feeling comfortable and warm, and I'd love for you to go grab all of the pillows off your couch, a couple folded blankets, some yoga blocks if you have any, yoga bolster if you have one. If you don't have a yoga bolster, you can fashion one out of a rolled up yoga mat with a blanket wrapped around it and then something tied around it. So create yourself, well, I just wanted to show you in there. There's a rolled up yoga mat in here. Create for yourself an oblong type pillow or support. And then come back here. And we'll start seated up on that homemade bolster or pillow or folded up yoga mat. So you can cross your legs if you'd like, or you can extend your legs forward, or you can put one foot down on the floor. Just find a place to sit for a moment here where you can be comfortable. Start to rise up through the spine. So feel how your seat is firmly planted in the bolster, the support beneath it. And gently trace up in your mind's eye all the way up the length of your spine to the crown of your head. And then turn your head to one side and sweep your chin across your collarbones to the other shoulder, and then bring the chin up and over. And begin to circle the head like this, really, really slowly. So slow down your movements. Move away from your usual pace. Create a new way of moving tonight, like you're moving through warm honey. The sweet slowing down. And start to trace the chin in the other direction. Just explore the range of motion in your neck with some tenderness. A bit of self-inquiry. What's happening tonight in my neck, my shoulders, my upper back. And then bring the head back to center. Bring the shoulders forward and up, and take them back and down a few times. Imagine as you take the shoulders down, you're just letting go of your load. Whatever it is that you're carrying tonight is just moving out through the arms and the fingertips now. And then settle into stillness and close your eyes if you'd like, or simply look down at a spot on the floor and start to listen to the way that you are breathing, inviting breath to fill the lungs, feeling that sense of space and fullness. And as you exhale, really invite the breath to move all the way out of you. And taking a deep breath in, feeling it move down through the nose, the throat, to fill the upper chest, the lower lungs, the ribs maybe, and then the breath moves all the way out. And as best as you can, follow this breath. So allow the rhythm of this breath and the way that you're focusing on that breath to quiet the mind, to slow down busy chatter that right now is not necessary. Listen only for the breath. And as you become friendly and aware of your breath, start to deepen that breath. So just pause and linger at the top of your inhale until your body asks you to exhale. And stay with that whole exhalation, pausing at the bottom of that out breath to simply be before the body asks you to take your next breath in. So moving out of this busy external world all around us of stimulation, shutting down the senses slightly and drawing them inward to focus on a simple breath in and to use this out breath as an expression of letting go now. Letting go of what you just don't need anymore. Even just letting go for a little while of thoughts, of worries of your day, of what's happening next. Just invite it to all quiet down for now. And focus on how beautiful and full your breath is becoming. And the way that your breath sounds to you. Focus on the length of your breath without trying to change it too much, simply deepening. And touch lightly upon thoughts as they arise, because thoughts will still keep coming up for you. But simply see if you can maybe just give them a little touch and then return to your breath. So keep coming back again and again. And we don't come to meditation to stop thinking. Come here to observe the thoughts, to let them come up, and then to use that exhale as an expression to let them go. Staying right here in this moment, just right here with the way that your body is feeling. Maybe you're getting a little bit uncomfortable in your seat. That's okay. We won't be here forever. And chances are you can sit in discomfort, but still cultivate a deep breath that's keeping you right here. So let's take 3 more breaths here. No sense of rush at all. Everything is slowing down now. Nice. And then open your eyes a little bit. Move around. Start to circle your torso over top of your legs just a few times in each direction. Bringing a little bit of movement back into the body, going the other way. And then at the end of your last little circle here, move off of the support underneath your seat. Come all the way onto your mat. or the space that you've created for yourself tonight. So lie down on your back against the firmness of the floor. I really recommend that you try lying on the ground now. It's a beautiful place for your spine to start to rest and lengthen. And if it's comfortable for you to keep your head on the ground, that's fine, but you might also want to slide a thin pillow or a folded blanket underneath the back of your head for the time being. So wherever you're at, start to stretch your body long, like you're just taking all the time in the world to feel the body from fingers to toes. Whatever that feels like for you, just stretch out. Arms overhead or wide at your sides. And then as you bring yourself back, you can take your feet flat to the floor and start to rock your head to one side. And then across to the other. Rocking the head to one side, feeling it heavy here. And then bringing it across to the other, just for that little pause, to feel the head heavy. Invite your neck to soften, to relax. The neck is a tense and tired place as it holds up a heavy head all day. So just see if you can feel the back of your skull, maybe even the ears, and the cheeks, and the jaw, and the sides of the neck start to soften down. Like the head is now being held by the floor. You don't have to hold your head up anymore. And now take your arms up to your sides and start to let your shins move to one side as your head turns the opposite way. And then slowly rock and move to the other side. Really just a small movement, feeling into the body as we gently twist. You can turn your palms down toward the floor if you'd like, to anchor you just a little deeper into the support of this ground. Restorative yoga is all about receiving support, receiving relief, and as much as it is about getting all this beautiful space and rest into our body, it's also about letting go. So we get to let go of all the stuff we've been hanging on to. And whatever thoughts, whatever emotions or feelings that we've been rolling around in our minds all day, this stuff is all attached to our physical body as well. So the way that you hold your posture, the way that you clench your fists or your jaw, the way that you tighten through the upper back or the lower back or the hips in response to the way that you're feeling mentally or emotionally, is all being invited now to move away. And then in place comes all of this spacious, delicious relaxation. Nice. Start to come back center with your knees and your head. And bring your knees up into your chest. So we can do this one at a time to begin with. Bringing one knee up and just rocking it side to side. Feeling into this hip, perhaps the back of this leg, the groin. And then you can take that foot down and bring the other knee up. And just let yourself explore what it is you're feeling. And with each of these movements and gestures of letting go, we can feel more of us sort of settling down into the floor. We can feel the spine relaxing. Nice. And then bring that first knee back up into your chest as well. Open both knees wide apart from each other and press them down and back together and up your midline. And see if you can really relax the hip sockets, the hip joints, the crest of the pelvis. Simply moving the knees with your hands so the legs really aren't doing anything other than being guided by the hands. Now we'll go the other direction. Notice how your lower back is pretty much in complete contact with the ground. So that low back is supported now. And as the knees come back toward each other, extend the legs overhead. Just enough to feel into the hamstrings, into the backs of the legs, all the way into the calves, up to the heels. Just let yourself feel here. Really press the lower back into the mat now. Visualize the entire spine fully connecting to the earth and receiving those grounding energies, those calming, supportive energies from the ground. And now slowly take your feet back to the floor. Just plug them back in. Reach for a yoga block or one of your couch pillows. Press into the feet, lift the hips, and slide your support underneath your lower back, underneath your pelvis, your hips. So this support isn't really in the lumbar spine. It's not in that nice curve of your spine. It's lower in the sacral spine, right where that broad triangular bone is of your lowest back. Let yourself rest here in supported bridge pose for a moment. You can take your arms out wide at your sides and then bend the elbows to 90 degrees if that feels okay. And really just feel how the weight of your body is sliding and shifting into your shoulder blades and the back of your head. And allow this. Come back into the awareness of your breath. Each time you exhale, feel this downward shift, like you're allowing the rib cage now to come closer to earth. And as you inhale, feel the front body rise and lift. And as you exhale, there's this sense of just shifting out, down, and into a place of relaxation. And when your thoughts arise here, when the mind tries to draw you away from where you're at right now, recognize that as simply thinking. And move Move back into the awareness of your breath. Into awareness of the shape of your body. If you'd like, you can bring a knee back up into your chest and extend the other leg to the floor. And this will give this extended legs, hip flexors, a beautiful sense of lengthening. If your heel of this extended leg is off the floor, you've got really tight hip flexors, and you might use a pillow underneath that heel. So you might just access a little bit more support. Make sure that no part of your body now is just hovering above the ground. So make sure that you're not guarding or holding any part of yourself up. You're not working at all here. Draw the knee that you're hanging onto out a bit wider to your side. And move toward enjoyable sensation now. Stay where it feels really good. And start to slide that heel all the way back up. Bring both knees into your chest. And then extend the second leg to the floor. So switching sides. Lengthen out this leg fully. Resting the heel on support if that's what's best for you. So make sure that heel is not hovering off the ground. Open the knee that you're hanging onto a bit wider. Invite your breath to move down toward this hip flexor, down toward the front of this thigh. And then let it all go out. And now bring both knees into the chest again. So you still have the support underneath your lower back. And if you're ready to let that go, you absolutely can. If you need to move it out, do. Otherwise, bring the legs overhead again for one more gentle lengthening of the back body. Bring some rotation or movement into the ankles. Poses that we use in restorative yoga are very similar, are very simple, all designed to help us not have to think about them too much. Here for us to simply be. And we're right here. Let's start to bend the knees and draw the heels down toward the bum. And then plug your feet back into the floor. Lift the hips again, slide the support out from beneath them and take your hips down to the ground. And rock and roll around in your body again here. Maybe feeling a lot more space now through the lower back. And as you are ready, roll onto your side and curl yourself into fetal position. Reach for a pillow, some support. And pause here. Draw the awareness into the spine again and feel how your back feels since you've moved away from the firmness of the floor. Perhaps you can feel that warm rush through the upper back, middle back, all the way into the lower back as blood flow comes back in. And slowly, with that sweet sensation of moving through warm honey here, just that little bit of resistance, you can sit up. Extend your legs forward. You might pull a blanket underneath your seat, a folded blanket underneath your seat. As well, draw a bolster or rolled up homemade bolster underneath your legs. So just finding some support for the backs of your legs. Bring now a second bolster or rolled up blanket onto your lap. And tuck it into your ribs so you can fold forward into caterpillar pose. Let the head hang here for a moment or two so that the back of your neck can lengthen. As you breathe in, imagine the breath is traveling up your spine all the way to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, visualize this breath washing back down the spine, releasing itself and whatever you don't need to carry anymore into the earth. Breathing in, breath moves up the spine. Breathing out, breath washes away tension, tightness, stress, exhaustion. Turn your head side to side, across the collarbones with your chin. Move so slowly that you can track this sensation all the way down your back body. Taking 3 more breaths now. And then sit up slowly. Take now your bolster behind you and prop it up with a block or a pillow right at the end. We'll recline here in Supta Baddha Konasana. So take now a couple other pillows. This is a really important part here. As you draw the soles of the feet together and take your knees wide, I want you to find as much support as you can for your thigh bones. So lie all the way back here now with the knees open wide and the support support underneath these thigh bones, right up close to the outer hip joints. You can take the arms wide if you'd like, or rest the hands over the belly. Start to open up the chest a little bit by rolling the shoulders down the sides of this support beneath you. As you breathe in, you can feel the collarbones expand, the heart fill and lift, the rib cage expand and stretch. And then simply breathe all the way out. Let yourself melt against the supports you feel. Simplicity of breath brings us right here. We're just here. And thoughts arise, and we touch them lightly with thinking. And then we come back to simply being right here. I am right here. Filling with space and grace. Full of gratitude for simply being right here. Perhaps for the last moment or so, you take your bolster or support out, your block or support out from under your bolster. Let the spine extend a little more. And we are all just right here. Allow yourself to bring some movement back into your body. Let yourself stretch out. That feels good, or simply move your fingers and your toes. Begin to rock the head side to side a couple times. And as you're ready, slowly sit up. I'd love to finish our practice together tonight by reading to you just a little piece from this book. This is my guide, When Things Fall Apart, Hard Advice for Difficult Times by Pema Chodron. She is a Buddhist monk that lives and teaches in a monastery in Nova Scotia. So I recommend this book. It's really great, especially right now in more uncertain times that feel a little bit more uncomfortable. So you can, again, recline if you'd like, or you can sit in a little bit more of a meditative seat. Close your eyes and just let yourself listen for a moment. When we sit down to meditate and take an honest look at our minds, there's a tendency for it to become a rather morbid and depressing project. We can lose all sense of humor and sit with the grim determination to get to the bottom of this stinking mess. After a while, when people have been practicing that way, they begin to feel so much guilt and distress that they just break down. And they might say to someone they trust, "Where's the joy in all of this?" So, along with clear seeing, there's another important element to your meditation, and that's kindness. It seems that without clarity and honesty, we don't progress. We just stay stuck in the same vicious cycle. But honesty without kindness makes us feel grim and mean. And pretty soon, we start looking like we've been sucking on lemons. We become so caught up in introspection that we lose any contentment or gratitude we might have had. The sense of being irritated by ourselves and our lives and other people's idiosyncrasies becomes overwhelming. That's why there's so much emphasis on kindness. Sometimes it's expressed as heart, awakening your heart. Often it's called gentleness. Sometimes it's called unlimited friendliness. But basically, kindness is a down-to-earth, everyday way to describe the important ingredient that balances out the whole picture and keeps us and helps us to connect with unconditional joy. As the Vietnamese teacher Thich Nhat Hanh says, suffering is not enough. Discipline is important. When we sit down to meditate, we're encouraged to stick with the technique and be faithful to the instructions. But within that container of discipline, why do we have to be so harsh? Do we meditate because we should? Do we do it to become good? To please our teacher and escape from going to hell? How we regard what arises in meditation is training for how we regard whatever arises in the rest of our lives. One more time. How we regard what arises in meditation is training for how we regard whatever arises in the rest of our lives. So the challenge is how to develop compassion right along with clear seeing. How to train in lightening up and cheering up rather than becoming more guilt-ridden and miserable. Otherwise, all that happens is that we all cut everybody else down and we also cut ourselves down. Nothing ever measures up. Nothing is ever good enough. Honesty without kindness, humor, and good-heartedness can just be mean. From the very beginning to the very end, pointing to our own hearts to discover what is true isn't just a matter of honesty, but also, and so importantly, of compassion and respect for what we see here. Learning how to be kind to ourselves, learning how to respect ourselves is important. The reason it's important is that fundamentally, when we look into our own hearts and begin to discover what is confusing and what is brilliant, what is bitter and what is sweet, it isn't just ourselves that we're discovering. We're discovering the universe. We discover that everything is awake and everyone is awake. Everything is equally precious and whole and good, and everyone is equally precious and whole and good. When we regard thoughts and emotions with humor and openness, that's how we perceive the universe. We're not just talking about our own individual liberation here, but how to help the community we live in, how to help our families, our country, and the whole continent, not to mention the world and the galaxy, and as far as we want to go. So, just a little bit of advice from dear old Pema on loving kindness and taking good care of yourself. Meditation isn't just another job that we have to do or that we feel we need to succeed at or become great at. It's a tool in becoming more and more honest, compassionate, respectful, and loving toward ourselves, and then toward everyone around us. And I wish you all namaste and sweet dreams, and I'll see you soon.